Hey everybody, Dylan from Noble Records coming at you with another video. Promised in my last finds video that I had more to show. I just didn't have it all together and started pulling it together, and I had even more than I remember. So better get to it really quick. I shot this video already and it was so long I decided to try and shoot it again because it ended up being like 35 minutes long. So buckle up. I'm going to try to get through this pretty quick. This is the Endless Trip. I've talked about this in a couple of my videos before. This is an incredible guide to psychedelic music. It's 3,000 records, all from the U.S. So it's like private press stuff, rare stuff, obscure stuff, and some common stuff. So its claim is publishing covering rock, pop, psych, prog, folk, blues, and beyond. But the majority of this stuff is psych. And it's a great book. Richard Morton Jack. Just another one of those really tough to find. I don't think they put many out when they printed it. I hope they do another reprint of it. That would be really great because I know that a lot of people are looking for that book. That was one of the greatest finds for me to be able to find that book because I wanted it so bad, and they're expensive and they're hard to find. But there's a UK version because I was like, man, this is awesome. It's 3,000, but they're all US, and a lot of that good stuff's in the UK across the pond. So this is the Galactic Ramble. This is the UK counterpart to it. Really tough to find. A friend of mine, Nate, I've talked about him a couple times. He doesn't have a channel, but he found a seller that had two of them. So he bought one and I bought the other one. So shout out to you, Nate. But this is another 3,000 records. And I've gotten to crack this open and read some things in it. But it's just a really cool book. Was super glad to have it. So now I have both of those. Another really cool thing I've got this like 3 months ago, and I keep forgetting to put it in one of my videos because it's not an album, it's a single, and I never buy singles. But this is called The Evils of Led Zeppelin Exposed. And the back says Stairway to Hell. So basically this is a pastor talking about how bad Led Zeppelin is. And I won't go into it, but there's this whole thing in the 70s where people were obsessed with like backward masking, and they thought that all these rock and roll musicians were putting these satanic messages in their songs. And the idea was that if you heard the song forward and you realized how bad it was, your brain would filter it out and say, oh no, that's bad. But if the message got into your brain would twist it around and turn it, and it would get into your subconscious, and you wouldn't be able to control yourself for this message. That's what they said. So my dad, some of you may know this, he's a Baptist preacher. I love my dad to death. We have a great relationship. But he gave me a cassette tape of all this like stuff that's like this. That's, the Police, I think. No, not the Police. I know that Zeppelin had one, Queen had one, the Eagles, Styx, a couple other ones of backward mask messages. And I heard Zeppelin for the first time backwards. And I was like, that's pretty cool. And I started like collecting Zeppelin records and playing their songs. And my dad's like, well, this does not work out the way I wanted it to. So anyways, thanks, Dad. We laugh about it now. But anyways, so now to get to the records. This is one I've been wanting really bad. So a good friend of mine, Lonnie, comes in the shop all the time. And he always brings me really good stuff. He always knows what I'm looking for. But this dude finds some of the craziest stuff. And he really finds everything on the cheap. Like, he digs it out of dollar bins and stuff. Like, he finds some of the most incredible things. And he found this a few months ago, or maybe a few weeks ago. And he'd been listening to it a lot. He's like, once I get to the point to where I want to sell it, I'll bring it to you. And he did. This is the Zoo Chocolate Mousse. This is incredible Psych album from San Francisco, 1968. This is on Sunburst Records. That's a subsidiary of Bell Records. But man, if you love that, it has a really good mixture of that San Francisco psychedelic sound, but it has some deep, really good guitar licks in it as well. A couple members, the drummer and guitar player, are the players from Heart. This is before Heart. That was where they made their claim to fame. But this is just an incredible record. In the Endless Trip, it compares it to Mighty Baby, which is really, you guys know I love Mighty Baby. So it's really good stuff. Strong vocals, really, really good. This is an album that the only reason why I think a lot of people don't hear about it or talk about it is because it's so rare. This is just a minty copy with the 44-cent Pride sticker, still on the shrink, just beautiful. I mean, as nice of a copy as it could possibly be. But that's one to put on your radar, the Zoo Chocolate Mousse. Really, really, really great stuff. Next one, this is one I've been wanting for years. When I first started collecting Psych, I discovered this record and I wanted it so bad because it has such a cool backstory. This is Ramses Space Hymns. Has one of the coolest covers. It's on Vertigo Records. This is a South African pressing, so I bought this from a guy I know in South Africa who sells like obscure Psych and stuff. And he tried to ship it to me in March, and I just now got it. So, wow. But this is the cover, and it's actually very different than most covers. So it folds out, and then it has, folds out again, and that's the cover. And then to let you see the inside, that's the inside. So this is Ramses, and this is his wife. And we'll get to that here in a moment. So basically, Ramses was this guy, totally normal dude, really cool. And he was in the car one day, and he said that he was visited by the Egyptian pharaoh Ramses, and said that he was Ramses reincarnated, and that he was giving him the responsibility of carrying on his legacy in the form of a psychedelic musician. So he did these 2 albums, that one and another one, both really, really great albums. But interesting lyrics, really, really good, strong psychedelic. I mean, it's on Vertigo, so you know it's good. But great guitar work, just phenomenal stuff. Ramses passed away. His wife remarried, and his wife's new husband, I don't remember his name, but he was jealous of all this attention that people gave Ramses, and his wife, like, I don't know if she still loved him or whatever, but he took all his studio tapes and burned them. So I think there was enough music on there to put out another album, and they were burned and destroyed. So kind of tragic, but that's a really crazy story, but phenomenal music, really good stuff. Ramses. This is another one, Mixed Softly. I bought a box of records from a friend of mine. He brings me some good stuff to the shop sometimes. And a lot of stuff, it's like UK imports, German imports, stuff like that. So this is a UK press, Mickey Softly Sunrise. It looked kind of interesting. It had been in a box under my desk at the shop for like 2 months, and I pulled it out and put it on. I was blown away. This is really, really good folk Psych, British folk type stuff. These go for about $60. They're pretty cool. With that CBS label. This one's in phenomenal condition, but some really good folk with some great guitar solos and stuff like that in there. Mickey Softly, that's a really strong record. I was stoked when I listened to it because I wasn't familiar with it before. I love when that happens, when I already have the record and I don't have to go look for it. I'm like, wow, this is really good. Another friend of mine brought this in the shop and traded it in. This is John Lee Hooker and Canned Heat, Hooker and Heat. This is a killer record. I've talked about this before. My US press has some like ringware, but this is a really nice German press with a cool hype sticker on there. So it's in really great shape. So I'm definitely going to keep this one for my collection and sell mine in the shop. But this is a phenomenal record. If you like Muddy Waters, Electric Mud, this is along the same lines. Super, super good stuff. Canned Heat's a great blues rock outfit that a lot of people don't, you can get their records for really cheap. A lot of people don't talk about them. But John Lee Hooker, Canned Heat, amazing. This is another one I got. Same guy that brought that in, a good friend of mine, brought this in. This is Indian Summer. Just a phenomenal early 70s hard rock record. It's pretty tough to find. This is a promo copy. You can kind of see the stamp here. But it's got a sweet label. I'll show you the label as well. It's Neon. It's a subsidiary of RCA. It's a gatefold. But it's really, really killer early psychedelic hard rock. It's 1970, I believe. But that's a great one to look for. Actually, if you're local, I have a reissue in the shop now that used to be mine. But yeah, the original press I've been looking for a long time. They usually go for $80 to $100. So I got a sweet friend price on this. So I was excited to get that early on in collecting. I actually had a copy of that, and I didn't know what it was, and I was broke and sold it before I listened to it. Made that classic mistake. Here's another one. Oh my gosh, Blues Creation. Really killer Japanese hard rock Psych from the early 70s. Blues Creation had another one called Demon 11 Children, which is one of my absolute favorite albums of all time. but this one's really good too. This one's Carmen Mackey, Blues Creations, some female vocals on here, but killer guitar riffage. I had a reissue of this. This is an early pressing, so the original pressing goes for $2,500, so probably will never get that. This one has a really cool photo in it. I don't know if that normally comes in it, but this looks like someone like took this picture themselves. But it's got, you know, the Japanese sheet, and it's got that sweet label. But this is a second Japanese pressing, 1975 press, I believe. Still rare, still tough to find, and as close to an original as I'll probably ever see. But that's a really good one. Blues Creations, a band you got here. They're phenomenal. Magic Sam, West Side Soul. This is a promo copy of the reissue of this. So I believe this is a late 70s, early 80s reissue of this, but really killer record. I've talked about Magic Sam a little bit. He's a cross between blues and soul. Just a phenomenal player. Really cool dude. Died very young of a heart attack. Just a great dude, and that's a record I've been looking for. I'd like to get originals of all his stuff, but we'll see. This is Gal Costa, Gal Canta Cayman. You guys know. But this is a really good Brazilian, I guess you call it like Brazilian pop, but it has some really good beats to it. If you like Brazilian music, Gal Costa is one of the staples. Another one of her records is India. That one's like one of the most iconic ones, but this was actually really good too. This is an original Brazilian press. And it's not too expensive if you want to dip your toes into some Brazilian music. So that's a really great record. Was glad to pick this up. This is another one that was in that same box with the Mickey Softly. This is a Turnquist Remedy. For some reason, this didn't really jump out at me when I first saw it. And you know, it didn't grab me, but I threw it on while I was pricing records one day in the shop, and man, it blew me away. It was really good stuff. It's kind of close to the Mickey Softly. You know, it's got a lot of folkish numbers in it, but some really killer guitar riffs as well. This is a great record, and I was surprised. It's one that I've never really heard that many people talk about, but it's a really cool record, so I kept it for the collection. I'll show these two really quick because you're familiar with this album, but it's just a really cool pressing of Zeppelin 3. So these are Yugoslavian pressings with the Susie record label right there on the back, as you can see. These don't have any kind of die cut, no wheel, no rivet, nothing like that. And the label looks like that. Super cool. Man, it's a cool copy of that. So that one came in the shop, and I decided to keep it because if it's interesting Led Zeppelin paraphernalia, I'm going to be a keeper on that. This is the same label, Susie Records, and this is Physical Graffiti. Look at that killer font. So cool. That font grabbed me. But as you also know about Physical Graffiti, it's on the Swan Song label pretty much everywhere else. But there, it's on the Atlantic label. Yugoslavian Susie Records. Pretty cool stuff. You know, I try not to keep it all, but when it comes to Zeppelin, I can't help myself. Fire and Water by Free. This is a killer hard rock band and album. You guys know Free all right now. It's their, you know, classic rock hit that's on your local classic rock station about every 30 seconds. This is a white label promo. I've had this record a million times, but the copy I had was pretty nice. But I was looking for a really clean copy because you know me. I found this super clean promo, white label promo, and it is a beauty. Was thrilled to have that. So that one, so my copy will be going into the shop. Moving right along. This is Bar-Kays Black Rock. If you know the Bar-Kays, usually like a Soul Outfit Stax label. But this is a lot more along the lines of Purple Image, Black Murda, Funkadelic Maggot Brain. Just some killer acid funk rock with, I mean, it's amazing, but it's along the lines of all that really just killer. The acid guitar solo is just amazing stuff. But this record doesn't cost that much. They're like 15 or 20 bucks. Now this one's in the shrink. It's got the hype sticker. It's a beautiful, beautiful specimen. But this is one you might want to look for. Bar-Kays, a Black Rock. It's a smoker from start to finish, I'm telling you. I threw this on the shop. My mind was blown. Super sweet stuff. Big shout out to the Mitchell brothers. Mitchell brothers came in from the Georgia region, somewhere close to nearabouts Atlanta, but not Atlanta. Next Play Records is the name of Andy Mitchell's channel. Check him out. He just started uploading videos. He has a video of all the stuff he found in my shop. But they came up, they hung out for about 3 hours. We talked music. We had a great time. Great meeting these guys, 3 brothers, Mitchell brothers. And they brought this record. This is Chris Smither, Don't It Drag On. This is, the kicker with this is, it's on that beautiful Poppy label. Now, they know me, and they knew my my affinity for Townes Van Zandt, and this kind of teeters on that line because it's also on Poppy. It has the aesthetic of late, great Townes Van Zandt, and it's really, really good. It's a little more on the folk side of Townes Van Zandt and a little less on the country side, but it's really good singer-songwriter type stuff right up my alley. And they gave that to me as a gift. They said, just keep it in your collection. It's a very generous gift, very thoughtful gift. You know, a lot of times people don't say, hey, I'm giving you this record for you because I think you would really like it. That never happens. So I appreciate that. Really cool stuff. This next one was Terry Brooks. This is To Earth With Love, or Strange to Earth With Love. No, it's Terry Brooks and Strange to Earth With Love. Sorry. But Terry Brooks, really, really cool, wild, out there, early hard rock, psychedelic, progadelic, just really, really insane stuff. Trying to get all Terry Brooks stuff. Got this one, thrilled about it. I got another one of his too, but I'll lift it up the shop, but I'll show that in my next video. This one also came from the Mitchell brothers. This was some in trade-in style. This is a turquoise vinyl copy of John Mayer Continuum. John Mayer is one of those artists that I think has fallen victim to these people saying that, you know, he's all pop and like getting a bad view of him because he does things that are you know, controversial at times and all that stuff. And he does have some pop records and all that, sell out, whatever. But he's an incredible guitar player. He's one of the most phenomenal players on the face of the planet, and you're not going to be able to tell me wrong on that one because he can adapt to any style and then still have his own flavor to it. He's a phenomenal player. You can't deny that. He's amazing. But this is a great record. I've got a copy, but this is the Vinyl Me Please turquoise vinyl edition. It's just a little something special to it, so I kept that one for myself. This is the Stooges self-titled Vinyl Me Please copy. And this is a John Cale mix. I'll show you the colored vinyl on this. It's pretty sweet. I wanted to get this. I do not subscribe currently to Vinyl Me Please. But lately they have been putting some really cool stuff out that has got me tempted. So this is one that I really wanted to get, but I hadn't been proactive enough. And they brought this to me as a trade-in. It's got this really cool red vinyl. I don't know if you can see. This is the John Cale mix. So the Cale mix is really super sweet. I love this album with all of my heart. You guys know that. The Stooges are some of my favorites. And really excited that they've got the 70th or the 50th anniversary of Funhouse. It's like a 15 LP, 2 singles, all these outtakes. It's just a massive box set. And I'm going to try to do an unboxing video when I get that. I should be getting it here pretty soon. But love the Stooges. I'm excited to throw that mix on. That's going to be the next thing I'll put on the turntable. So thank y'all for bringing that because I think they're getting a little bit tougher to get your hands on. So next one here, this is one I found. This kind of situation, an old lady brought in a whole huge collection of records, and there was nothing good in there at all. And I bought them all because she didn't want to take them home. And the only good one in there was this. The Players, He'll Be Back. It's in the shrink. It's a pretty nice copy, but really good soul record. Great stuff. Glad to have it. But that's one I cleaned up, put in a really nice sleeve, and now it's part of me. Mr. Flood's Party. I think I might have showed this in another video. It's a really, really, really essential Psych record in my opinion. This is one of my first Psych albums that I really fell in love with. It was in my Psych collection when I first started it. And I actually had a white label promo and all that stuff, but it wasn't quite this nice. When I went nuts and sold all my records, I sold it. And I've been wanting another one. And Bo, Earhead 6 on here, he wanted a Randy Holden Population 2, so he traded me this for that. And I'm super thrilled. Bo, it's great condition, Beautiful record. I'm absolutely thrilled to have it. I love that album. I'm glad it made it back to my collection. This is Betty Davis, Columbia years 1968 to 1969. Just you guys have heard me talk about Betty Davis 1,000 times. There's a really cool documentary on Amazon Prime about Betty Davis. I think it's still on there. I watched it recently and have been just on a crazy Betty Davis kick, as I have been since the moment I listened to her for the first time. But this is a really cool compilation of some stuff that wasn't really, I think most of the stuff wasn't released. But it's got, you know, it's a cool, I think these are out of print now, so kind of cool stuff. But that's great. I've been looking for that and got a good copy of that. But Betty Davis, if you haven't seen that, that's a really good documentary. Space Opera on the Epic label. Really good early proggy, psyche record. I believe they're out of Texas, but really great record. I found out you can usually get those pretty cheap, but I've been looking for that. Got it. Stoked about it. There's another one, Clark Hutchinson, A equals MH squared. This is on the Sunbeam label. Original pressings of this are a little bit tough to find, a little bit expensive. It's not crazy. I'm sure I'll own an original press soon enough. But this is on the Sunbeam label, and so I picked it up. Just, you guys, I've talked about it 1,000 times. This Psych label, they sound phenomenal. So any pressings I can get, I actually have some original pressings and Sunbeam pressings because they sound better of certain Psych records. So this is a really cool one. Some really interesting guitar work. It's primarily a guitar album. You know, if you're a guitar guy, you'll probably like it. But check that one out, Clark Hutchinson. Couple more here. This is the Dramatics, What You See Is What You Get. This is in a really great shape. I actually was going to sell this, but I was like, you know what? I always find them. They're always beat. This one's in really good condition. You know, the gatefolds, it's whatever. It's in decent shape, but the vinyl's in really good shape. This is a fantastic soul/funk record. You can get these pretty cheap. I think if you're lucky, you can get one $5 to $10. But if there's one in really good shape and somebody throws it up on eBay, they might get 40 or 50 for it, just because it's a really, really good record. And they're a lot of times they're a little bit beat up. I found a few copies throughout the years, but threw this one on the other day. I was like, man, it's a keeper. I got to keep that. But it's Dramatics. Great stuff. Albert King, King of the Blues Guitar. I didn't previously have this one. I had a ton of Albert King, but didn't have this one. This one's a near mint copy in the shrink. It's beautiful. Albert King, what is there to say that I haven't already said? Just an incredible blues guitar player. He bent those notes like his life depended on it, and we love him for it. He kind of took Stevie Ray Vaughan under his wings as much as a bunch of other killer players, but man, he was as cool could get, and I love his records. So every time I see one I don't have, I pick it up. And the last one is Marquis Memphis Experience. This is just some soul, funk, instrumental type stuff. Really good. It's in the shrink. It's, you know, killer stacks stuff. So that's my video. That's the stuff I got, y'all. Thank y'all so much for watching this video. I try to keep it as short as possible. If you enjoyed this video, hit the subscribe button. Follow us on Instagram. Check out some of the other videos. We hope to see you around. Thanks again. Noble Records out.